Hello there, Mad Mike here, and welcome back to the channel. And today, we are going to look at the first trailer for The Matrix 4, which has been officially titled The Matrix Resurrections, to, I guess, continue on with the motif of the RE titled sequels like Reloaded and Revolutions. This is the first trailer we've seen for this. This is going to be coming out on December 22nd of this year. So it's a little under 4 months away, or no, sorry, I stand corrected. It's a little over 4 months away. They're aiming for a Christmas release for this, which kind of makes sense. It's a little bit of an open window, and this trailer brings up a great many questions. Although I did not dislike the trailer, by the way. I actually think the trailer was relatively good, and it doesn't commit the cardinal sin of trailers. It doesn't give away the whole story, but it does answer some questions that I think a lot of people had about what Neo has been doing, why he's alive, even though that was kind of left a little bit ambiguous at the end of the third film, and what is kind of happening with the Matrix. So let's just dive into this, and we'll kind of dissect things as we go. And the first scene that we actually see is that Keanu Reeves is in this room with a therapist who's played by Neil Patrick Harris. And he's telling him that he's had dreams that he doesn't believe are dreams. He believes it's real. And we see little snippets and stuff of some action scenes and things like that, and what looks like a guy waking up from his stasis in the real world and stuff like that, because the real world in the Matrix movies is a dark hellscape, basically. And Keanu Reeves seems to be haunted by these memories or what he can see. Again, he's still apparently Neo, but he doesn't remember or know how to use his powers. They also mention when Neil Patrick Harris is talking to him, he calls him Thomas, which is in relation to Thomas Anderson, which was his name before becoming Neo in the first movie. It seems like what they're doing is Neo is in the Matrix, but he doesn't realize it. And the Matrix has given us this character who I would assume is some kind of an extension of them in Neil Patrick Harris. He's a character that probably exists as a program in the Matrix, and he's not actually a person that's in there. And the thing is he's giving Neo blue pills, and we see this in the early part of the trailer several times, where Neo is taking these blue pills. Now, if you remember the original movies, the blue pills, when Morpheus offers the two pills to Neo, he offers him the blue pill and the red pill, and he explicitly says the blue pill is if he wants to continue on in the Matrix and if he wants to stay there, and if he wants everything to kind of go back to the way it was, and if he takes the red pill, that means that he will see the world for what it really is, which is, a horrible hellscape. And he winds up taking the red pill, and of course we know what happens after that. But in this in this point in time, it looks like the Matrix is tricking him into taking the blue pills so that he doesn't remember who he is or what he did. Which I think is a good explanation for why he is still there. I don't know if necessarily his physical body is alive, but his mind is apparently, or at least a remnant of his mind that is in there. Now, the other thing they introduced in this is they reintroduced Trinity, who's played again by Carrie Ann Moss. And right after we get through the scenes with Neil Patrick Harris, we see Keanu Reeves meet Trinity, and he shakes her hand, and he holds her hand a little longer than maybe he meant to, and she kind of looks at him and says, "Do I know you?" And he's very befuddled by the question. He doesn't really know how to answer it, and it also brings to light the idea that, as they do some of the voiceovers and stuff, that the reason why Neo's consciousness is continuing in the Matrix is because he's searching for Trinity, who's the woman that he loves. So it makes sense that he would be searching for some kind of a remnant of her, and it also seems like the Matrix has been somewhat rebooted. Again, not like the Matrix rebooted, or not like the Matrix Reloaded, I should say. But it feels like it's had some kind of a reboot, because it doesn't look the same as it did in the previous films, at least from what we can see. It's not in the original Matrix movies. Whenever they were in the Matrix, a lot of the times you would see a green filter over everything. It's a very, very slight green tint that was kind of over everything that they removed whenever they went into the real world. In this case, it looks like they removed the green tint completely, and the real world just kind of looks the way it normally does. There doesn't seem like to be any kind of a color filter over it, which I think is interesting. It takes away a little bit from that old aesthetic, but I kind of understand what they did with it if this is a different version of the Matrix. We then go through the trailer. He meets this blue-haired woman who brings him through this doorway, kind of like the Keymaster did back in Matrix Reloaded. And then they emerge from a mirror. Again, that's kind of, I think, relating back to the first Matrix with Neo when he has the whole episode with the mirror after he takes the red pill. And the other thing is we see what looks like a younger version of Morpheus. Who's played by Yahya Abdul Mateen II. I really hope I pronounced that correctly. If I didn't, I'm sorry. A lot of people would probably remember him. He was Black Manta in Aquaman, and he was also in the recent Candyman film, which I still need to watch at some point. And he seems to, again, he seems to be playing a young version of Morpheus. We see a lot of references kind of back to the first film. There's a scene where it looks like Keanu Reeves and or Neo and young Morpheus are in kind of this dojo training area that's in the middle of this random like pond somewhere. Maybe Japan. It looks like it's definitely Japanese architecture, but I don't know if the building is actually in Japan. And then he proceeds to unleash all of his power, and like Neo unleashes all of his power and blows up the building and stuff. A bit of a relation back to the first one when Morpheus is trying to get Neo to unleash his powers, basically, and like kind of bend reality. So there's a lot of little nostalgia moments in this trailer. We also see shots later on of Neo actually using his powers again, like blocking bullets. He redirects a missile from one helicopter to blow up another one. And we also see at the end of it, too, we see that Carrie Ann Moss and Neo and Keanu Reeves, they jump off of a building kind of like how he used to fly back in, the second and third Matrix films. So this trailer is very interesting to me because it answers a lot of questions that I had in somewhat of a satisfying manner, but it doesn't answer all of them, and I don't think it should answer all of them because I think that a trailer needs to leave certain things up to the movie. The only thing is that I still don't know how they're going to solve some of those problems that they had, transferring from the third film to this film. Unless they either A, ignore them, or B, they decide to kind of just, explain them away as, computer magic. They also don't really explain what's happening in the real world, in the world outside of the Matrix. We have a couple little snippet shots in there of what looks like these little robots, the machines that ruled the world, basically, and they look like they're still doing their little harvesting thing with human pods and crap. We also really don't get too much of an explanation on some other things. We do see that there appear to still be agents inside the Matrix because some people inside there do shift into agents at points and start shooting at people. There's a few little action scenes that are thrown in there. There's a scene where Keanu Reeves is on his knees in what looks like a rainy or like wet room that's like covered in water from like a sprinkler system maybe, or like rain outside if the ceiling or something is broken. And he has a desert eagle that's pointed directly at his head. And that is kind of interesting to me, that I'm curious what that scene's about. But the thing is that this trailer does a very good job at giving people just enough to say, okay, I think I understand a somewhat of what's happening because I understand. I've watched the other films, but I don't know all of what's happening, and that's going to eat at me a little bit. Is that I can't really predict exactly how they got to this point, or whether or not they're actually going to explain it. As for some of the other stuff in the trailer, the music, which I said it before, it's "Go Ask Alice," or a cover of it. I actually do like that. It fits in with the kind of the motif of the pills, even though they're talking about pills that put you on a psychedelic drug trip and not pills that keep you inside of a matrix. And the only other thing, too, is that at the end of the trailer, and it's really bizarre to me, and I don't understand why, there is a scene where Keanu Reeves is sitting in an office, like in a high rise office building somewhere, and he's talking to this guy who I don't know what character he's playing or anything like that. He doesn't show up, as far as I'm aware, in any other part of the trailer. And the guy begins talking, and then he literally just says, going back to the beginning, going back to the Matrix. And he calls it the Matrix by name, which means that he is either one of two things. Either he is an agent of the Matrix, which means he's a computer program, he's under control by them, or he is somebody else who's from the outside world who knows about the Matrix and simply exists and, plugs into it, basically. Um, One of those two examples, probably. Kind of like Neil Patrick Harris, I suspect that he's probably another program in the Matrix that's designed for certain things. It's weird. It feels like they kind of combined almost like the Truman Show with the Matrix, but it's not as gratuitous. They're not, obviously the machines aren't using this for entertainment, although they probably could. But like I said, I really did like the trailer. I don't think it's a bad film trailer at all. But I'm still very, very curious on what the hell is going to go on in this movie and how they're going to go on from that third film. And I once again, I like Keanu Reeves. I think he looks like he's doing a really good job in this, at least from how the trailer looks. I think that he's aged and improved as an actor over the years, so it's interesting to see him come back to a role that he had early in his career, before he had as good acting chops as he does now. But I'm gonna put the trailer in the description below in case you guys want to watch it, and I want to know what you think. Have you watched the trailer? Have you not watched the trailer? What do you think about it? Are you excited for the movie? Are you not excited for the movie? Do you have any theories that you've concocted by watching the trailer? Like I said, I've explained a couple here, but like I said, I want to know what you think. So put those thoughts in the comments below. Make sure to hit the bell for notifications, hit the like button, subscribe, and remember, I live my life free of compromise. Do you?